Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Gaming Backlog Book Club. So, Death Stranding 2 is releasing in 2 days, and while we obviously won't be finishing Death Stranding 1 quite in time, you can be sure we are much more interested in playing it sooner than later, now that this game is really firing on all cylinders. What do you think, Alex?
How far we are in the game right now, it has definitely piqued my interest to play Death Stranding 2. Maybe a little sooner than later, but
right.
I still...
That's even without having finished Death Stranding 1. I think I'm already intrigued and interested to continue on. I mean, it will be a backlog entrance for sure, but it's not necessarily going to be a 5 years from now backlog item.
No, it'll be sooner than, a lot sooner than backlog of Death Stranding 1 from when it came out till now. So, yeah, definitely intrigued. Very intrigued to see anything about Part 2, about Death Stranding 2.
And something that was interesting too. So I noticed when I logged in to start up this Death Stranding episode, it was crazy to me. So on PlayStation, only 29.3% of people who booted up ever Death Stranding Director's Cut have actually finished Episode 2 Amelie, according to the trophy list on PlayStation. Of course, that isn't including those who played the original release before the Director's Cut, but it's still such a low percentage so early in the game. I would expect people to get a little bit farther than that. I guess most people try something, don't like it immediately, and bail out.
I agree. I think that's what it is. I think it's, as we said, sort of in earlier episodes, I saw things that people said, like, wait, get like 8 to 10 hours in maybe, and it starts to pick up. And I will agree. Those people were right. It is.
Absolutely. It clicks at that point once you start getting access to more things and sort of understand a bit more, and the story heats up. It makes a major difference, and I hate to have to, it's not a waste in this case, but spend that time not thoroughly enjoying something to get farther. Same with a TV show where they say, watch 5 episodes and then it gets good. I prefer to just like something from the beginning, but in this case, it's been worth the wait.
Yes, it definitely has. I'm really enjoying this game. I'm now finding myself just sitting and playing hour-long sessions. Because I'm just I just want to keep playing.
Far beyond the required orders that we set out. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's pushing me into carving out extra time that I was thinking of maybe just doing the required orders and moving into actual side quests as well, which is always a good thing. We went through 9 required orders in this first 2/3 of episode 3. What has your experience been like overall?
Overall, for these first 9 orders, pretty good actually. I definitely felt more confident with some of the stuff you get with these orders, some of the rewards. It has definitely made me feel more confident of moving through the territories, dealing with mules, BTs, etc. So I definitely feel more confident. These 9 orders we've done, I have really enjoyed.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of sort of stacking, much like Sam's Cargo, stacking your capabilities and your ability to move things around and move yourself around, and it's much more comfortable in a sense to be able to hike through, especially the more intense terrain. And yeah, it's definitely, it's caught my attention so much that I just don't want to stop at this point. But here we are. This podcast is keeping us at a normal pace instead of binging it all in like one weekend. I guess it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, so this episode, we finished fighting at the end of episode 2. We fought the
Higgs monster,
the Kraken monster,
and took
Kraken monster.
The barge across the lake.
Took the barge across. And then we arrived here in Lake Knot City. And first thing we did was very easy. Just moving some packages just to the main destination of Lake Knot City, the main center.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it really picked up quite a bit more.
They put in some story beats here that I think were really interesting, and obviously this episode is called Fragile, as they all seem to say, and it obviously is revealing more of her backstory. I think what I caught on to was they explained a bit more about her relationship with Higgs. Someone said he took everything from her and then some, And then she comes in and explains at some point all of their history. And obviously there's a lot of rumors swirling around about Fragile, both between herself and Die Hard Man and all of the other preppers that seem to be around in the wilds there. So we're learning quite a bit more. And even the fact that, Fragile uses her beach to teleport, and she can actually teleport you through her beach, which ends up being the fast travel system in this game. And it's nice to have a fast travel system. Of course, you lose any cargo you're carrying and is placed in a private locker instead of going with you. So that can be a bit of a pain and have to account for that.
Yeah, it was really intriguing to learn more about Fragile and her background. As you said, like basically Higgs tried to take everything from what her father and her built for the company and tried to destroy it. Also, we did find out that she, as you said, she has her own beach that she can jump through. And she can't summon BTs like Higgs can. Right. So that was one ability she does that he has, but she doesn't. Also, I did find out, I don't know if it came right after this or a little later. I don't know if you read it. There was an interview. If you go in and read an interview about Higgs, but the interview basically said that his name is Higgs because of the Higgs boson particle, aka the God particle.
Yes, you're right. I did read that one.
Yeah. So basically he thinks he's God. That was what I was getting. Like he thinks he is God Almighty. He can summon the BTs. Yeah. No one will take him down. I do like that. That's why his name is Higgs, and it's based off that. I thought that was a fun, interesting bit of lore.
There's always going to be a second layer of meaning behind anything. Mm-hmm. So outside of the setup for this episode about Fragile, I took on, obviously, there's 3 orders to preppers. You need to reconnect the chiral network to a handful of preppers, convince them that bridges or the network overall for the UCA is worth committing to or being a part of, and that's really the first 3 required orders here. And so I set off on my way to the engineer, and you, of course, have to either go a long way around or go through mule territory. So I was pinged by the mules. I saw one get really close right as I dropped the decoy briefcase on the other side of a giant rock and then snuck around the backside. But there were tons of them, and fortunately I had my cargo all perfectly packed to not wobble. So I just went into a dead sprint as fast as Sam could go towards the marker I had put down, dodging all these electric interference spears that kept landing nearby, and I finally outran them when I ran out of stamina. What a rush.
You had a pretty intense moment there with the mules. I had not quite as intense, a little bit more, a little similar. I had all my cargo. I had everything. I'm very good now at, once I get all my cargo, is I just automatically go into the menu and just auto reshuffle it so that it's in a definitely better balancing order.
Mm-hmm. That's the first step, always.
Yeah, always the first step. But yeah, so for you, I did encounter the mules. I tried to sneak around. I was able to sneak up on one and get one with a strand, like sneak up and take him out. But then I tried to go a little bit further, and a couple more, I got pinged and saw me and started to run after me. And I just, started to sprint. But unfortunately, at one point, I got very lucky. I sprinted and I lost balance in the water because I didn't have enough stamina anymore. And I fell in the water and my stuff all came out. I started floating down and I was like, oh no. And mules were still sort of chasing me, but they weren't going as fast. And I was able to luckily get to a part where I was able to stand up and all my stuff was coming right at me. So I was just spamming triangle, throw them back. And I got all my cargo back onto my back. And then just from there, I actually amazingly wasn't too far from the engineer and just got my way. And then so I couldn't sprint because I didn't have much stamina. I had to let that come back. So
drink an energy drink.
Yeah, I was able to luckily make it to the engineer to drop off the first package to these 3 preppers that we get to meet. So it was a little bit intense, but I got very lucky that if you fall in the water, it doesn't damage your cargo because it's just floating in the water, luckily.
Well, I have a story about that later.
And I was able to just pick it all up again. Yeah, but made it to the engineer, who Yeah, so it's, for the engineer, we drop off the dev unit, the Evo dev
Mm-hmm.
unit, I think is what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And what was nice about that is then he gave us a blueprint to a power skeleton,
The biggest
which
difference maker of them all. I thought
is
the auto trike was going to be the best part, or the reverse trike, and no, it is definitely the
no, this power skeleton is it's like a godsend.
yes. They make
It's so nice.
movement so great. Running, carrying cargo, so much easier. They recharge in sun or timefall, and wow, it's just such a difference maker.
Yeah, I'm definitely not as much hitting the R2, L2 or both together to balance or
Yeah, it still happens from time to
shift
time,
my
but
weight.
it's definitely much smoother. And so I don't think
Yeah,
those, and it requires you to not have things attached to your hips, but it gives you more carry capacity on your back. And I'm never gonna take those things off. I'll replace them every time I need to. They're just too
no,
good.
I've kept them on. I've got mine, since we're talking about them, I've got mine up to power skeleton level 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dropping a couple things off other just standard orders to the engineer.
Yep.
So now I just have power skeleton level 2, and it's a big difference.
Yeah, and that was something
they're
that
helpful.
was cool that I kind of discovered as well in this segment of playing is that the side quests, in many cases, provide upgrades to your equipment that you can then fabricate. So that in itself is a great reason to do side quests, even if they are somewhat fetch questy more than most other games. I got that upgrade to this as well, and it's really nice for a side quest to give you something that actually affects gameplay and not just some experience.
Yeah, I agree.
And I didn't, on the way to the Elder, I didn't run into much trouble. I just kind of hiked. I set up some ladders and whatnot, but it was pretty uneventful. But the order from the craftsman to get his tools back from that BT infested area, which kind of looked like a mall with escalators, was tense. I don't know what your experience was, but I tried to, as I was escaping, I tried to crouch through an area with a low overhang and knocked a bunch of cargo off the giant stack on my back. So I won't be doing that again. Don't try to crawl through when you've got a bunch of cargo.
Okay, that's good to know. I have not had that happen. Okay, that's good
And
to
it
know
did
that
some
it
damage
does.
to the containers too.
That's why container repair spray is very, very helpful.
Yeah, I actually
I
still
always
haven't
carry
used it. Yeah, but
I
I have
carry
a
like
couple.
2 or 3 all the time on me, and I will use them. But yeah, for the craftsman to get his tools back, it was. I had quite a few of the hematic grenades on me. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't need as many as I had. I think I had like 20 on me. But I just, basically was just crouching through, as you said, the mall area. I kind of just basically, once you get to the wall of the area, I went to the left and then through a little room and then out and then through some escalators where there were BTs around, but I was able to just take them out pretty easily. I mean, I was crouching the whole time, so I was kind of going slow.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really have to hold my breath as much because the second I could see him pop up, I'd already have the hematic grenade equipped, so I just aim and just throw it right at it.
Yeah, those grenades are helpful.
Yeah, they're very helpful.
I
And
like to
take them
try to
out.
stealth through as much as I can, and then if I need it, I'll use one of those.
Yeah. And then when I got to the area where the tools were, there was actually a BT like hovering around it, which I'm glad I did because earlier when I was walking over there, the BT kind of went, it looked like he spawned inside the area where the tools were.
Rough.
So I was like, okay, I got to take this one out because if I pick up the tools and he spawns in there all of a sudden and then instantly touches me, I could be kind of screwed. So I just, I took him out and then got the tools and then I basically went back the same exact way I came in. I think I took out one. Yeah, I took one more BT out. That kind of got pretty close, but other than that,
yeah, I didn't feel like going back through all the BTs that I had just stealth through because I didn't kill any of them. And so I picked up the package and then kept going in basically to complete the circle to get out. And that's where I ended up hitting that overhang. But there were no BTs around, but then it knocked the things off. So I couldn't go under. So I had to climb a bit into this collapsed building. And then I jumped onto the main retaining wall of the place and then jumped down on the outside. It was an interesting approach, but I'm glad it was able to actually work.
nice. Yeah, I see this way. I like that. So we're talking about like you're different. Your experience to mine is totally different.
Yeah.
I said,
There's
like,
a lot of variety in here.
yeah, there's a lot, and that's the thing. You can pick and choose what you want to go like do. If you want to do it, as you said, you were a bit more stealthy. I was stealthy for a bit, but then there were ones where I was like, I'm just going to take these guys out so that I don't have to deal with them potentially coming back through here.
Yeah, I hear you. I should probably do that more often because I have plenty of hermetic grenades. So you get back to the engineer and he gives you the bullet gun, which is great for knocking down mules when you're being chased. And then you get to kick them in the head for good measure, knock them out. I tossed in a bunch of smoke grenades when I stole the server and then sprinted out of there.
Oh, so okay. Yeah, I have not used the smoke grenades. So
I'm a fan.
Okay, that's
I'm a fan.
interesting.
You make them.
Okay.
They make the whoever it is kind of cough a lot, and then they get semi-incapacitated, and then you can just run. So I use it. I throw a smoke grenade to where I'm going, hack the chest or the wherever they have something stored to steal, snag it, and then they're still coughing, and I start running, and then they of course chase after you. So I either turn around and throw more grenades, or I am now swapping to the bullet gun and keeping them from running.
Okay. So for that one for me, okay, mine was different. Yeah, the bowler gun is great. I love that you can shoot the mules, take them out, as you said, kick them to knock them down. If you headshot them, it's an automatic knockout. If you headshot them
I did
with the
not
bowler
try
gun.
that. I've only been shooting at their torso and legs.
Nope. If you can aim it and hit them in the head with it, it'll automatically, they'll have the little knockout symbol, like the full knockout symbol above them.
Nice.
When they're down.
I like how it also has a sort of slingshot type trajectory. So you hold the trigger down further, it goes longer and wider.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, I've been. So I had a little bit different of that server thing. You went again stealthy with smoke bombs and all that. I kind of went John Wick style and just bowler gunned all the mules.
Everybody.
Everyone was chasing me, and I was like, run, and I just turn and then just bowler gun, kick, or if I had a headshot knockout, and then I was free to just go and pick up the server from the post box, and I just grabbed it and then ran back to Lake Knot City to deliver it.
Sam Wick.
Yeah, basically, I kind of was. I like the bowler gun.
It's a good time.
A lot. And I didn't. It's actually nice if you get. Well, I have it now upgraded to 2 because again, from earlier from doing some stuff for the craftsman, I have it upgraded to level 2. But even the level 1 ones, I mean, you get like 14 shots, and it's just 1 shot per what's it. So you can take out a camp with 1 gun, if that. So it's pretty nice. It is quite useful. And if you can do that with using a strand and sneak up, where I was able to get again some more stealth kills, then you can save quite a bit of ammo.
It's also interesting that at least on the good guys side of this story, no one's actually killing anyone. They're using non-lethal methods because killing means likely a giant explosion. So this electric bullet gun is cool. The electric spears that the mules use is interesting. Obviously, the hematic grenades don't, I think, have much of effect on a person, but it's a unique take to have. You're not actually killing anyone.
No, you just basically knocking them out, knocking them unconscious. Like with the strand, when you just sneak up behind and just get them in a chokehold from behind with the strand, it's just knocking them out, putting them to sleep, basically. And
so, have you after most of these mule encounters where I'm in a dead sprint for a long distance, obviously I use an energy drink halfway through if I really need it to keep going, but then eventually Sam kind of runs out of gas. Have you done the rest and sleep option that's available? I think you just hit circle when you're out in the wilderness.
Yes, I have. I have done it a few times. Yeah, where I've rested for this first part for a bit, going back and forth between like engineer, elder, craftsman, dropping stuff off. I had a couple times where I had sprinted too much, and if your stamina goes all the way down at one point, you lose one of your squares, one of your stamina bits. It will get lined. It'll get lined through. So I had actually 2 of those out. So I only had, I can't remember, what did we start? Would you start with 4 or 5?
It's either 3 or 4, and then if you drink an energy drink in your private room, it boosts it. And then you end up okay. I didn't know. I think it's lose
4.
them.
So I was down to 2, just 2 total between stamina. So I was trying to really be careful of not running. But then I was able to get to the distribution center south of it. I was able to rest, and that kind of put them back together. And then drank an energy drink, and that put them back all
back up.
square where I had the regular full stamina, and then I drank another one and it gave me one extra bar,
Right.
which was nice.
Yeah, the resting option when you're out and about is nice because you don't have to go all the way back somewhere, because then you'd be just walking, I guess. The thing that was funny to me, if you leave him, so when you go into rest and there's no enemies around you, it is a quick autosave. And it's funny because Sam starts talking to himself in his sleep. I don't know if you left him sleeping long enough.
Haven't. No, I haven't. I didn't sleep him. I didn't leave him long enough then to get that. I only did like a minute and a half, maybe. That was probably
I think you get the benefits. I think I just did that, put the controller down for a second and looked at something else, and then he just starts talking. So it kind of caught me off guard.
Okay, I might have to just try that and just leave it for a bit and see, because I want to just experience that. See what he's
mostly
saying.
Just for your own entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing that I caught on to, and it was in an interview or an email at some point, but it's definitely caught my attention. So the likes in this game, the whole system of liking other people's structures or the deliveries, they serve as the experience and leveling up system here of how much you can carry or even how many more likes you can get for a delivery. And that interview file talks about an offshoot of that brain chemical oxytocin, which is the pleasure chemical. And it's called lycocin. And it's so blatantly commenting on our current internet culture being so obsessed with validation from strangers. It's almost just smacking you across the face with, why does anybody care?
I get what you mean when the likes with the XP, because I'm now, after completing, I've done a few standard missions. I don't know what you're at, because obviously there are different levels, it tells you.
And it's in a star format, so you go in 5 different directions for different stats.
Yeah, but then overall, there's like a level. Well, overall, it's like I'm level. I'm over level 100. I'm like 100. I'm like porter level 100 something now after doing quite a few. But the higher those go, it gives you more options to do. Like it opens up more bandwidth somewhere, or it increases stuff for you, which is definitely helpful. Which also is another reason why to do some more standard orders, because if you can get that up, then it gives you more benefits yourself and Sam as a porter, which is nice and useful.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think, let's see, even, I don't know when it came up exactly, but at some point I did it actually was not a standard order. It was an order for Sam, but I think it kind of connects to this whole like thing, because it was, did you get this quest, the pizza delivery service?
Yes,
so it's and it's even so on point. It's complete with a 30 minutes or less time limit, just like the real pizza delivery people. But I think it connects into the like system in terms of just trying to please people is a part of this experience overall, because you get some visceral reaction from the people you're delivering to, and it obviously is life changing for them whenever they get anything, because they're too afraid to go outside. The pizza delivery is a funny thing to have in a game like this, though.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I mean, I think it was for the person that you sent it to. I think it was for his sister, because I remember reading the emails or something after that she was sick, and that a pizza was just the perfect thing that she needed. But it was my first. I don't think I've done any before, but I think this was my first. They're called urgent orders because they have a time limit, as you said.
Right.
I'm sure there will be more later on. This was a side quest that we didn't have to do, but it was pretty close to Lake Knot City. It wasn't very far. It was just a unique thing to do, as you said. Like, it's a 30-minute or less pizza. Get it there in time.
Watch this become a pizza delivery game instead of reconnecting a network. Sponsored by Pizza Hut.
That would be funny.
And so after, or at some point around that time, also, hell yeah, the reverse trike is back. And I also, I think, almost immediately unlocked a long distance version with extra battery power but less storage capacity, which, holy crap, that makes a huge difference too.
Yeah, when we delivered that server that we stole from the mules, we get the blueprint for the trike. I built one of the long-lasting battery ones, but I built it and I didn't really realize, I didn't read it thoroughly, that you couldn't carry cargo on it.
Right.
So I then just built a regular one as well. Ooh. So I haven't tried the long battery one because I've like having the usage of being able to put the cargo on the trike.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I think based on what you're saying and my own experience, I think there's obviously various uses. I think if you're just doing a bunch of back and forth for standard order delivery, it's great to have a standard trike. But when you're going along, you're going a long distance and it's for potentially a main story quest and you're really far away, the long distance one is absolutely worth it because you don't get to store anything or much. You can get super far. So right after that, I took on a side quest to contribute to a piece of the road right outside of Lake Knot City. And it
Mm-hmm.
turned out it was the materials that I got for that quest directly from Die Hard Man and put into the auto paver. That was all that was needed to finish not only that section, but a massive chunk of the road. So I was able to take that extended battery reverse trike and go like 80% of the way to the south distribution center where the next main order was. Because it so many pieces of the auto paver, like I only completed one piece, but through the chiral network, through the other people that have played this game, a huge other chunk of the road was done. So I got almost to where I needed to be, and that saved a lot of time.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I did the road reconstruction one as well, that order. To bring it there, though, my experience of bringing it there was a little different. I think how did I get there? Did I use a trike? I used a trike or I walked with some of the heavy ones, and then I offloaded it and then went back. And it took me a little longer, but I got them all there and delivered everything. But yeah, it's nice because once you're on the chiral network, I've come back from when I did that, I had that big part of the road and another section of road done. And then when I came back to the game a couple days or a day or two later, as you said, since it's online, I had at some point, more of these bridges built and another big section of a road built. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. Now I can definitely get to some of these places easier. And it's so helpful. And I like that other people can put in the materials needed to build these roads.
Because there's a lot of materials required to do it.
It is a lot.
So, something that I had heard previously before starting this game, even reading about it a long while ago, is that obviously the people that played and reviewed this game at original launch, had the complaint of obviously all the things required to get around. And at some point it seemed like so many people had contributed to these roads, contributed to the bridges. Obviously you don't get access right away because you need to connect each segment of the map to the chiral network to get access to them. But a lot of people that came back to the game a year later said it was significantly improved because you were able to move around more easily. I like how it's required to be connected to the chiral network, though, for most of it, because it gives you that mixed experience, best of both worlds, where you get to do some of the hiking and wandering through an area, but then once you're connected, your backtracking is so much easier. It really expands on the experience. It makes it easier, but you've already been through it a little bit, and you're not undercutting your experience by using them by the time you get access to them in each section of the map.
Yeah, I really like how it is online like this, that, you can, before you're on the chiral network, obviously it should be, it's your main mission to get this place up on the chiral network. So it's going to be tough to get there. You got to get there. You got to find your own route to get there, if you want to try and make it harder on yourself, or see if you can find a little bit easier of a path to get to. But as you said, once you're on the chiral network and you can see everything that everybody else has built, all the signs that they've put up letting you know, like, hey, there's BTs here, hey, there's a bridge here, hey, there's whatever here. It is nice.
Something that's interesting too was in the second episode of our podcast, I mentioned that the chiral network almost seems like just sci-fi Wi-Fi, and it still does to an extent. Obviously, you're connecting people together. When you connect a chunk of the chiral network, you get access to other people's structures. I'm wondering if there's ever going to be an in-universe explanation of why you couldn't see this bridge before, but now you can see it and use it, or if it's just a gameplay mechanic and that's just where it stays. But I know they've also mentioned the reason that everyone has their own beach, the term multiverse has been thrown out a couple times through interviews and even cutscenes. So I'm very curious where or if that comes back or comes into play or is described in any way.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see if it does come back. But just have to wait and see, because I'm not so sure right now.
Hard to say. And so arriving at the distribution center, that was where we end up getting access to the auto delivery bot. So you can basically assign a minion to bring a standard order to someone and just pump up your likes and experience. What was funny to me was as you select the thing, it pops up this little cutscene next to your terminal, a hole opens up in the floor and the auto delivery bot comes out, but he hums the tune to itself as it walks off.
Yeah, he does.
And I didn't recognize what it was, if it was an actual song or if it was just some noise, but that was very sort of funny.
Yeah, I didn't catch what tune it was. I mean, I might have to, maybe I'll do another order, see if I can try and figure it out, or just Google it. But I think it's supposed to be more of a sort of humanized, funny.
Yeah,
he's just character. Out for a stroll.
Yeah, just doing some work for the human you're assigned to, and it definitely gives off a bit of a Star Wars droid vibe.
Yes,
Star
it does.
Wars companion droid, like an R2-D2 or a
it does
BB-1 or a BB-8 or whatever else with all the personality attached, but no voice.
Yeah, it definitely does give off a type of companion droid. I agree. I did actually. So you have to do a standard order there, sort of, to just see how the bot works.
Right.
To do it. I then actually later on did another standard order with a bot, just because I saw there was a trophy. This was just me, just trophy farming. Just that said, like, have a delivery with a standard. Guy. Yeah, have a delivery done by by Autobot, by the bot. And so I was like, okay. So I just picked one that didn't look like it'd be too hard. I think it was something from the distro to the Elder, and he delivered it. I got it. When he finishes it, you have to go back to the terminal, go to that order, and then select that it's finished. Unfortunately, the only downside of that is I got a grade C out of that. So the grade was C because the cargo was maybe 50% down, almost there. So that's the only issue.
You can't really tell them what route to take, I guess.
No. So I did it once to get the trophy, which, again, I don't know. That was just me seeing that as a trophy and be like, oh, I'll just do it once. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to. And after I saw it was a C, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that again. I'll just do it myself.
And so moving on from the South Distro Center, you go to the weather station. And I'm curious to hear your experience, because on the way to the weather station, you go through this very rocky, hilly terrain, and it starts raining pretty quickly. So I just ditched the bike really early. Got through the BT area without much trouble. But then soon after that, I tried walking through a very narrow stream without scanning first, but it was too deep. And like you said before, I got swept up, lost most of my cargo, and was floating downstream for a long time. It was definitely on a hill. I was so worried and thought there was going to be a waterfall and that I was effed because I hadn't saved in a long time. But fortunately, my cargo washed ashore the same way it did with you. And then I did a little bit further downstream. And so I was able to go and pick it up. But a lot of it was damaged. And I really luckily had a ladder attached still to my tool belt that I was able to use to get to the other side where all my cargo was, because I did not want to go all the way from the distribution center again.
I had the exact same experience as you there. It was another river debacle for me as well.
Fool you twice. Yeah, I guess scan any moving body of water in this game.
Yes, and realize now, because obviously it's blue, yellow, red, and red is deep. Red is you can't go through. So yeah, I took my trike originally from the distro center, got up to a part where I was like, okay, I'm not sure how I can drive this through. I'm sure there's a way, but I don't know. So I got off. I made my way through, taking out some BTs on the way with some hermetic grenades. And then again, as you said, I got to that river. I didn't know it was like that part of it deep, because I think I just went quickly and didn't scan it. And yeah, again, all my cargo fell off. But it was luckily for me, yeah. And as you said, it's downhill. I was going for a while, and I was trying to control it to be like, please get to the edge so I can get up. I was able to get to an edge, and I was able to get to a shallower part. And then again, most of my cargo actually floated down to me. So again, I just was spamming to pick it up quickly on my back. And then some was trapped against a rock. So I was able to walk back up slightly, get it off a rock, And luckily for me, I checked the containers were damaged, but the actual cargo was not, so I was okay. So I just used some container repair spray on them. But yeah, so I was lucky that it wasn't actually damaged. But then I made it across that big river, got all my stuff, and then there's another little river later on, and then I was lucky I was like, I'm not even going to take a chance. I had a ladder on me, and I just threw it down and crossed.
Ladders are useful.
Yeah.
The ropes are useful on cliffs, but the ladders are super useful for the rivers.
Yeah, ladders are very useful.
Don't want to waste a PCC to make a bridge in most cases.
No, definitely not. And then, yeah, made my way to the weather station.
And the unlock from the weather station was very cool. I haven't used it much, to be honest, but I like the fact that you're able to semi-predict the timefall, where it falls, what time, and basically what time in terms of how far in minutes from now. So you can get an idea of maybe plotting a route out and going around any timefall if you don't want to encounter BTs. Cool that it exists. I guess I have to wait and see if I'll end up using it more. Have you used it much yet?
I have. I've looked at the map. I've noticed that, like, in the areas where there's timefall / potential BTs, I'm assuming. I don't know if I can't remember if it always just shows you if there's BTs there. I don't think it does. It's all blue diamonds. If you scroll over the part, shaded blue diamonds, where you can see where the timefall is. And obviously in some of those places there are going to be BTs. But yeah, I like that. I would sometimes, I'd look to see if there are there, and then you can move it up the time-wise. I think you set up to like 30 minutes to see. Even though I'm not really sure. I mean, it's cool, but I don't know. Is 30 minutes like?
How long is that in terms of walking?
Is it no real? Idea. Is it in terms of walking, or is it like real time?
You know, one of the interviews or explanations that I saw right after we got that too was basically just weather is unpredictable, though. So they're just commenting on real life weather forecasts. They can be very accurate or not at all.
Yeah, it's a 90% chance of rain today, and then all of a sudden, oh, it's 90 degrees. Never mind. Thanks, weather team.
And yeah, who knows? I guess I'll keep trying it and see how accurate it is. So leaving the weather station, I took on the immediate, really quick order because it's right down the hill from there is building your safe house, which gives you a private room and a rest spot and all that. Right around there, I built a watchtower, trying to get a view down to the Timefall farm and down the whole hill in the area I was going to have to walk across. And so I was like, okay, I built it. And I was like, why can't I customize it? Because you sometimes walk up on these watchtowers and you see specific things that, holograms and music and whatnot. So I was just, because it was expecting it to take a couple seconds to do, and it wasn't available. So you have to upgrade it. And so I went to go get some materials to upgrade it. And I realized, okay, no, I've taken all of the claimable materials from the weather station and I need more. So I was like, okay, I had forgotten that you can't transfer cargo through Fragile. And I went into the safe house. I fast traveled over to Lake Knot City to try to get more from there. And then I arrived there and was like, oh yeah, you can't do that. I also thought in the fast travel system that maybe they would give you a little bit of a God of War style fast travel sort of in between space where you see Fragile Beach, but they just really just teleport you. She just comes out,
talks to you,
talks to you for a sec.
Tells you like, hey, like close your eyes, think of where you really want to go,
right?
And then you go. I have heard a rumor, and I only know this rumor because I had to look up something to do with the safe house and with Fragile Jump, which I'll get to in a second. But I have heard that if you use it too much, she gets angry.
Oh, because it does some damage to her.
Or something,
it takes a lot of energy out of her, she explained.
Mm-hmm.
And
so if you do it too often, she gets angry, supposedly.
Interesting. And not in the fast travel moment, but in the normal cutscenes, whenever she shows up, she always offers you something to eat with one of those grub cryptobiotes in her hand. So it seems like she's just constantly inhaling those things to keep herself from struggling.
Yeah, that's probably what that is for. So you built the safe house. I did the same thing. I did the safe house. I got all those materials, built it up, and then I did something different. So instead of going then down, I took a little longer. I didn't go straight then down to the Timefall farmers. As you said, I fragile jumped from the safe house to the distro center, and got myself a trike, and then basically drove my way up to the weather station. And then luckily at that point, all the timefall had gone, so there were no BTs or no timefall in the area. So I drove up like clear, and I was able to just zooming in on the map, just trying to find the path and just driving along. It took me a little while, but I found like a path through a little bits of the river where it was a little more shallow, where I could go through with the trike instead of losing it potentially
So
in
you
the
were just
river.
exploring.
Yeah, I was just exploring, and I was able to find, as I said, it took a little bit, a path up to the weather station to take a trike with me, which was very helpful. But after I did that, and it says like, obviously you said like when you fragile jump, it says, oh, you can't take your cargo. It says all your cargo will be placed in a private locker. And I'm not gonna lie, I was getting a little frustrated. I had no idea. I kept going in and out of the safe house. How do you access the private locker here? Because in the menu, if you press start and look at on the map, you can view the cargo there, and it's all my cargo's there. But I was like, how do I access it?
I think it's only through the distribution terminals.
Nope. So you can. So I found it. I figured it out. So if you if you're on your safe house, so say that safe house that you built, if you're on it and you go to the structure area where you build it and you hold down the start button for the structure menu.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but out of the corner of my eye I saw in the top, it tells you you can upgrade it or dismantle. I thought those were the only options. But if you press R1, it goes over. And then there's your private locker. You can do materials. You can do all this other stuff.
Damn it. So, okay, the other reason I fragile jumped was to get materials so I could fabricate a reverse trike to go down the hill to the Timefall farm. And I didn't know this detail. And so I went back and forth, and I didn't have the materials, so I just literally had to walk all the way to the Timefall farm. So you were able to get... Okay, good to know.
Yeah, so so when you're on your own safe house... So I have heard, though, because I have safe houses of other people's safe houses now.
I had seen one in the distance, but before I knew what it was, and then didn't use it because I did read because I
tried. Yeah, I tried to look it up because because as I said, I was getting a little bit frustrated. Like, how do I get this stuff out of the locker? I tried to look it up. I couldn't find anything about that, of how to get it out. Mm-hmm. But what I did read was I found ones of people who went to other people's safe houses, and if they then deleted their safe house, like stuff was like gone. So that's good to know. Good. It's good to know if you're going to stay in someone else's safe house and you want to travel, like do not have much to leave.
Okay, because their safe house might disappear and you're going to...
Yeah, it might disappear.
Okay, and that's good to know. So safe house is not as useful when someone else builds it.
No, but your own one, as I said, if you go to the structure menu, you press R1 or whatever it is to go over, then you have your private locker. So I was able to get all my stuff back out. I was like, oh, thank God.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Everything's here. And then, as you said, you walked. You can tell me about your experience, but I took a nice little ride down the hill to the Timefall farm.
How long did that take? Like 2 minutes?
2 minutes.
I was walking for like 10.
I know what you had to go through, and I was just like cruising through. I had my wife next to me, and I was like, Andrew made it sound like this section was going to be hard, and I was like, I just drove through it within 2 minutes.
You bastard.
But then I was like, I understand why now it was hard for you. So yes, what was your experience?
Yeah, going to the Timefall farm, which is a cool concept, by the way, because I explained it to you before you even get there, is that obviously a cool sci-fi thing I hadn't seen before is that obviously Timefall advances time very rapidly, and so they're using it to super quickly grow crops and food on a farm. And so they're able to get, I think it was like 4 rotations of a crop in the time that it would usually take 1 year for one rotation. Hey, pretty sweet. When you get there, they end up explaining to you that the weather prediction helps a lot because obviously all the weather patterns got effed up during the Timefall, during the Death Stranding with the BT arrival and all that. But anyway, I had a wild walk. So once I finally got all the way down the hill across the rivers and whatnot and, realized, yes, this is mule territory again. There was a ton of tall wheat for stealthing through. I used a decoy smoke box, and then I got caught pretty quickly. I got pushed or punched a couple times and fended them off. Then I used the bola gun to keep them down, so I sprinted all the way to the farm. once I got there, it turned out that 2 of my 4 cargo boxes were not on my back anymore and had been knocked off in that scuffle.
Oh, no.
So since I was already there, I delivered the 2 that I did have just to make sure I didn't lose them too. And I went off searching for the other 2. Luckily, they were easy to find with the Odderdeck ping. And although the way stealthing through the grass along that whole path to one of the boxes, they were in 2 separate places. I was binding mules with a strand. Lots of fun doing that because you can also parry them with that, like throw them off and then bind them right afterwards. Once I found the first cargo, I was circling around this giant rock that it was supposedly behind, and then I got close enough and realized it was actually a hologram of a boulder, not an actual boulder. So that's something that exists. And so I was able to just hack in and pull out my cargo. Also realized in this process that you can actually hijack the mule vehicles. So I took one of their giant trucks, although it was short-lived because they immediately stalled it with an electric spear, and I got knocked out and had to sprint. But I think if you knock out all the mules, you can actually take their trucks with you, which is something I'll have to try out next time.
Okay,
all in all,
did not know that. That's good to know. Okay.
I was like, is this like a GTA? Like, can I just go and hit square and drive a truck? And I tried to use it as my getaway vehicle, and yeah, it didn't work, but good to know. All in all, it was super fun going through that gameplay loop, I gotta say. It was wild and unexpected and unpredictable, but as I was improvising along the way, I ended up just kind of really enjoying that. I ended up with enough damage to those 2 pieces of cargo that I got a C grade on the delivery overall.
Oh, no.
I don't think I had gotten below an S until that point, so that was a bruise to the ego. Obviously, don't get in fist fights with mules when you have important cargo if you can avoid it.
Yeah, that is a good point to take out of this. Yes, do not get in fist fights. I just love, that was your experience, and my experience was more like me on my bike, mules trying to chase me, and I'm just like Ellie being like, bye dude, and just
see ya.
Driving past.
So that's the end of the required orders for this first section, this first podcast episode about episode 3 of Death Stranding. But Alex, you mentioned to me on the side that you found a pretty fun Easter egg at one of the watchtowers.
Yes. So I've actually found a few fun Easter eggs now. But before that, actually, I was going to mention this just earlier that for the weather station, I noticed another thing that we can now build other than the safe house was this Timefall shelter.
That's which was right. Actually pretty. I didn't try that yet.
Yeah, I haven't tried it, but
I think we haven't been through Timefall since we got access to that. So that's
yeah. Once I put the farm on the Chiral network, someone had built one in the farm by me. So I just drove under it with my trike, and basically it repairs you. It repaired my trike. It repaired my cargo, like the cargo containers. Sweet. And it puts you out of the rain. So they are useful.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So and you get an upgraded PCC to be able to build those too. So I think that's that. Well, I'll have to use that the next time I run into a BT area.
Yeah, but I bring that up because, as you said, the Easter egg thing, there's an Easter egg with that for me. So as I park under that Timefall, the hologram that is under there.
Oh, you can set holograms on the Timefall shelters.
It seems like you can set holograms on
any structure you build.
Watchtowers, Timefall. I don't know about bridges, but maybe it's just watchtowers.
I've seen them on bridges. Yeah, I've seen them on bridges. I don't know if I've seen them in the lockers, but still all fun.
But yeah, for the Timefall shelter, I park under it, and hologram wise, who's there? Kojima just standing as a hologram under there, which was hilarious. And then a couple others I found, as again I did after I left the Timefall, I went back to the distro center because you have to, I think for the next orders you have to go back to the distro center.
Yeah, I stopped I'm still at the farm.
Okay, I went back there to and I looked and the order is there. I haven't got the order yet because I just stopped there because then after that I just did some standard orders. One I found is I dropped some stuff off to the craftsman, and after I drop some and his rating goes up again, like as you said, the stars, it unlocked Aloy and Watcher hologram for me. So I now can do the holograms of Aloy on the Watcher, and when I left the craftsman, he's out there on a hologram waving, and so is Aloy and a Watcher waving at me as I leave.
Well, that's pretty cool. I was not expecting that. I believe you mentioned that you saw near the engineer a Watcher
I
hologram
did.
already there.
Yes,
So I
near
didn't.
the engineer, I'd seen one. That was the first one I saw, and yeah, I think I took a screenshot and sent it to you because I was like, what? So that was the first one I saw. But yeah, now I have, I guess now after doing a couple more standard orders for him, I now have the option to
create that hologram yourself.
create Aloy and Watcher as well. And then one of the biggest ones that I had, again, this is because I just assume I was the Chiral network. This isn't one I built.
Going through all the standard orders.
Yeah, no, this was for just driving around. There was another Timefall shelter.
Mm-hmm.
It was close to the Craftsman, actually, for me. It was someone put up. I drove into it, and I'm like, who is this character? And I'm looking, and it's like a guy wearing what looks to be like a polar bear head, like costume hat.
Okay.
And I look at the face, and I'm like, that's Conan O'Brien.
No way.
Yes, it's Conan O'Brien in an outfit with like it's like a hood, but the hood is like a polar bear head. I was like, that is 100% Conan O'Brien standing under this Timefall shelter.
Conan O'Brien.
as a hologram. So I was like, that's hilarious.
The Defiler.
I was
the
like,
Defiler of the Strand.
I would assume, though, because some of the holograms like you see of like the people like that are usually at some point in the game. So I'm curious on if we'll meet him again at some point. Like I'll meet him officially in the game of what he is.
Well, based on the fact that I met Jeff Kiley as an actual prepper, I wouldn't be surprised if Conan then showed up as a prepper.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there's a good. So there is a good chance that would be cool. But I just found that hilarious. I was like looking, like I like drove in close. I like walked up really close to it, and I was like, "Yep, that's definitely Conan O'Brien." I was like, "What? Well, this is crazy."
He must go help the Chiral network.
Yeah. He must at some point in the game. But yeah, just to like end off with chapter 3 for me, as I said, I went back to the distro center and then did a few standard orders, but then I also started to try and build some of the roads. I built one road because it didn't need much.
They require a lot of materials, so there's a lot of back and forth.
This one didn't need too much. So I had the chiral crystals on me, so I was able to do that instantly. But then it needed a few more metals and some ceramics. So I was just like kind of using the Audra deck scanning, and I was able to find like 80 ceramics over here, 60 over there, or whatever. Solid. So I just would drive over, pick them up. And then some of the mules on them had metals. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to go take out a few of these guys, pick up the metals. So I was able to build one part of a road, which was helpful. And then I started working. It got late, so I didn't finish, but I started working on another section of the road, which I'm kind of hoping that since it's online, maybe it might be even closer to done by the time I next get on to play,
by the time you get
back. Be nice. Because again, it was another one where like it wasn't far off. It was needing like maybe 400 of this, like 200 chiral crystals, which that doesn't take really long because they're everywhere. They're pretty easy to find.
Right.
It's really the ceramics are the harder ones I've noticed. Like I don't see those as much. But yeah, I was trying to just build roads for myself and for if they go on to other people's who are still playing.
As far as I can tell, that's the way it works. So maybe I'll come across your road or contribute to it, or vice versa.
Yeah, but
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, but for like the conclusion of this, for these orders that we did for chapter 3, I had a lot of fun. Like I found myself really enjoying doing the orders, but 2 having some of these upgrades now and getting everything like the power skeleton, the bola gun. I've been doing a lot of these side orders. I just find myself I want to explore more. I want to find this material. I want to do all this stuff.
It sounds like this game has its hooks in you. You're sleeping way too late and doing a bunch of side quests.
Yeah, I need to stop staying up a little too late. I'm not gonna lie, the time kind of flies by. Playing it.
Are you getting hit with Timefall in real life?
It feels like it, but no, I'm definitely more like really hooked into this game now, story wise, and just
hooked and invested in. Yeah, exactly.
The play style of it, it's very unique. It's very different to anything I've ever played before,
for sure.
But it's really fun. I find it really fun now.
It's definitely, and even the simple things like the tow floating tray is
That was something we didn't talk
simple.
about. Yeah,
It's simple, but it gives you just another option to have more cargo without weighing you down, so you can still sprint. And the thing, it floats, so it can go over literally anything. I haven't tried climbing up a cliff with it yet, but I know it can go over rocks, no problem.
I only used it very quickly. Yeah, to get back to that, to build the private shelter.
Right. Okay.
Your private room. That was it. Safe house. But I don't know how far it goes, because I did remember reading or seeing, actually they said, like, Mama tells you it can only go a certain distance, and then you have to feed it chiral crystals to, like, keep it going.
Oh,
but
that's
I don't
right.
know.
Yes, it didn't seem like my chiral crystals were shrinking in quantity, so I wasn't able to tell, like, how long do I have, really.
It definitely didn't, for at least from going to where you have to build the safe house, it didn't. So I'm curious on what the distance is, and then if it, because I haven't reached it, like, if it tells you, like, hey, it's running low, you need to put in blah 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 amount of chiral crystals to keep going. Right. So that'll be something, in the future I'll try out in the game and see.
Lots to experiment with, and lots of fun in the progress of figuring it all out. And so that we're about 2/3 of the way through this episode 3, and we'll take this week to wrap up the chapter about Fragile. So the specific required orders that you should focus on this week are numbers 30, 32, 33, 34, 36, and 38. And following that, we'll move on from Fragile's chapter onto episodes 4 and 5. I'm certainly excited, ready to see how her section of this, obviously I think all the characters will pop in and out, but how this specific section about her will wrap up and where we'll see her in the future.
Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued, because, I mean, we had the ending of episode 2 was quite intense, and I'm sure this will have a very probably intense or really fun ending to this chapter.
I'm already expecting a wild boss fight.
Yeah, I'm expecting it too. I'm just really intrigued on what it's going to be.
What is it? Time. Is Higgs coming back? Is it coming from someone else that we don't know yet?
Yeah.
What will happen?
Yeah, but I will say, we're going into part 2. But once we finish it, I have enjoyed this chapter, just the story wise and just the gameplay wise, quite a lot.
It's a good time. It's like that break free part where you get past the tutorial section and get to really enjoy the experience overall. It feels a lot like up until the end of the previous chapter was the initial section of Breath of the Wild, and then you finally get your kite and jump off the cliff and go into the real Hyrule, and you get all access to everything.
Yeah,
that's what this feels like. We have a true open world. I think there's obviously, you probably could go a fairly far distance without doing anything order related and explore. I think it makes the most sense for your time to do it the way that they set out, more or less. But it seems like this is the expansive part. This also seems why it's the longest episode so far. And I think that the story will get a lot tighter as the story beats end up being more focused on shuttling you to the ending.
So I'm excited to continue the story and see where this goes.
Excellent. Let's jump into the next portion of this episode and catch back up next week.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
If you want to follow along and discuss our playthrough of Death Stranding and any future games on the Gaming Backlog Book Club podcast, please give us a follow on your podcast platform of choice: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, or Pocket Casts, as well as our Discord and Instagram under the same name. Thanks.